Hello everyone, welcome to Midweek. Glad you are here with us today and hope you're having a fantastic week. I want to come back and visit today something that probably most of us actually experienced last weekend. That's called Envision. And I hope you got one of these here. And if you didn't, by the way, if maybe you were out traveling this weekend or hanging out in Hawaii, that you'll come into the office. We have some extras. And one of the things that you're going to see in here is just unbelievable stories. Just stories of God's grace and kindness, like how a guy got saved at a transfusion, clinic, and all kinds of different things. But I want to focus today on this last page, 10 things. We added that this year. It was different. We've not done that in the past. In the past, we've kind of like, here's the story, we rejoice, here's where we're headed, and come join the team. We got a little more specific this year, and so I want to talk just about a couple of them. 2, 5, 9, and 10. Those are my numbers today. What are they? Number 2, join with us in prayer for God's blessing. I just ordered a little book. It's called 5 Things You Can Pray for Your City. I'm not all the way through it. I'm actually thinking already of ordering a couple of cases. I think, and the reason is because it's a helpful little book. It's one of those books that you want to read. Like, I think you can read it in an hour and a half if you just buckle down on this thing. But it's really good. It's from the Heritage Foundation, and it talks about strategic initiatives towards our cities. Cities, it's interesting. I have a theory about cities out of the scriptures. That in the city, it's a place to forget God. You remember when Cain left, he was judged by God. What did he do? He went and built a city. I'm not saying cities are inherently evil. I'm saying that it's in a place of a city where independence, when you're in a farming community and your cows get out, you don't call AAA, you call your neighbor. When you're in a farming community and your tractor gets stuck, you don't call AAA. You don't call a service. You call a friend with a bigger tractor. What happens is in the rural environments, it drives you towards interdependence of the community. What happens in a rural environment is it drives you towards an interdependence with God. I remember one time I was pheasant hunting out in eastern Colorado, and I went into this restaurant and just took a little break, and the restaurant was absolutely packed. And I was like, well, are they giving food away today? And I asked this farmer, I said, hey, how come everyone's here? And his response, I'll never forget it, is because God shut us down, he said. God shut you down? Yes. He goes, 2 weeks ago, we didn't have enough rain. Now we've got too much rain and everyone's getting stuck out in the field. So if you can't go to work, you go to the cafe. Do you realize when you live in that kind of environment, it drives you towards God? It does. What happens when you build a city is you don't call a neighbor, you call a service. You don't become independent, or you don't become interdependent on people and God. Why? Because you have everything you need. So one of the things that happens in a city is independence, not interdependence. That's what happened with Cain. He went and created self-sufficiency, and he created all these mechanisms. Those, I would witness Tim Keller and others who have done, now Keller's in heaven, but such a fine job of understanding the city, the decay of the city, and actually how to pray for the city. So I want to challenge you to take up number 2, and that is to join in prayer that God would bring blessing to the city. Our new mayor, she's been meeting with people, trying to wrestle already before she takes office about how do we bring life to the city. And here's the blessing, my friends. We live in the city. This is where God placed us. I honestly think we have the most strategic seat in the house. So I want to continue to challenge you. Understand the nature of the city. I know we're not large, huge metropolitan like Chicago or in LA, But actually, we still have some of the same struggles of the city. And we have some of the same deterioration. Malls across America are all dying. And so as they die, and as we move in with different avenues, we as a church get called into that place. So let's pray. That's number 2. I want to go to number 5. I just want to remind you again. And I made a promise, and I've kept it. Every night, Carrie and I, we're going to pray for our high five, and I want to challenge you to do the same. During staff this week, as we were praying for the high fives, someone prayed, and I loved it. God, would you bring a harvest this year to us out of the high five that helps validate for people the essential blessing of prayer? God, did you hear us? I love that prayer. I want you to join us in that, not only in praying for the high five, but every time one of your high fives comes to Christ, please let the staff know. We want to celebrate with you. So join us in that high five. That's number 5. Number 9, open your heart to new people. It is so critical that we become and sustain ourselves. It has never been our goal. It's not now that we're the largest church in town. I have no idea who the largest church in town is. Seriously doubt that it's us. What I do want to be is a place where when new people come, they find us with open arms. That takes a lot of work, actually. And I'll tell you why. Is because what we long for in the church is this deepening community. And when we have a deepening community, it becomes to the new person a kind of a picture of a wall. I liken it to a family reunion. I went to a family reunion one time. It wasn't my family. And when I went to the family reunion, I realized I don't know their jokes. I don't know the father figures of the family. And I was there for about an hour, hour and a half, and I thought, this is lame. I'm out of here. And I left. I think sometimes people can come to a church and feel like they went to a family reunion and they don't have the same or the right last name. So what happens for us is that we need to be very conscious. And I want to encourage you to join our team. And what's that team? Every Sunday, find somebody new. Every Sunday, maybe invite somebody to sit with you. Don't go to the place of your maybe familiarity. Don't go hang out. Of course we want to develop community, but always be mindful. God's bringing us new people, and let's be available to them. Last, 10. God, would you help us as a church? We have been placed in a strategic location, a state that has an approximation of somewhere between 9 and 11% Christians. That's lower than Uganda. That's lower than South Korea. That's lower than a score of the Philippines. That's lower than a lot of countries. Now you can look at that and say, what a bummer. I want to go to a place with more Christians. Or you can say, what an opportunity. Let's pray that God would use our church in that opportunity. I want to encourage you to grab one of these. I want to encourage you to read through them, give thanks to God, and rejoice, like we said in number 1, for all of the good things. I want to thank you for the privilege of just partnering with you and allowing God to use our church in this city, in this season. What a blessed time. Continue to pursue the heart of God for our city. Thanks for being a part of it. This weekend, we're back in the Gospel of John. Can't wait. You say, how much longer? Till it's finished. That's going to be this summer. We're going to wrap it up this summer. And so we'll get there, and then we have a whole new series planned for us. Another thing that I want you, this is looking way down the road, but the staff is planning a ministry fair in early September. For those of you who are new, or maybe you're just like, I want to get involved in some areas, but I don't know where, that weekend is going to be spectacular for you. Early September, we're still looking at the final dates, but you can prepare for that. It's going to be virtually every one of our ministries kind of like putting on display all that God has and the opportunities. There's going to be opportunities to discover your spiritual gift. There's going to be opportunities to find places where they need volunteers and people and wisdom and mentors. So look forward to that. It's going to be a great time for you to connect. Hope you have a great the rest of this week. Continue to pray. God's going to use those prayers. I love you.